Hey guys, happy Thursday. Welcome to everybody that's joining us live and those that are going to recap this later. This is a community, so obviously we want to meet you where you are. Each and every month, we try to invite some people from the community that are contributors, they're leaders, they're business owners, and they're sharing their struggles, their successes, and their perspective, right? And that's why we have these conversations. And so each and every month, we try to bring on somebody that's really leading this dance. And I'm excited for you guys today to meet Marsha because she is like the epiphany of contributor. She is leading with context and content that helps us really understand what branding means and why we need to get better at really honing in on our message. Marsha, one of the things we like to do, since this is a community, is we like to have everybody that's here introduce themselves first so that you know who's here and who's live and committed to being here and present with you. And they're going to be part of the conversation, right? Because we open this up to comments, kudos, and questions at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Adam Griggs. I am the founder of CLARAfi. I'm your moderator today. I'm very excited for everybody to join us. And then I'm going to turn it over to Elena with GoDaddy team.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Elena. I've met most of you before. Happy to be here and hear what you have to say, Marsha. I'm on the team at GoDaddy. I'm on the community engagement team. So we do virtual events and community type stuff and engaging with you guys here in the LinkedIn group. And then I will pass it over to Jonathan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan, and I'm also part of the GoDaddy team. I work specifically on engagement, so handling how we show up on social across multiple platforms. And it's been, you know, I say this all the time, but I always look forward to these, and it's just so nice to catch up and see familiar faces. And we have had a hectic week, so it is a really, really nice. It's nice to be here, and I'm very excited to listen to today's presentation. And yeah, Adam, as always, thank you for your leadership and for helping to make all this happen.
Yeah, thanks for the GoDaddy team for always curating and making the community feel safe, right? Because that's very important for us to have conversations that we can really be part of and feel that we're supported. So thank you guys for that. And just a reminder, if you're here and you're listening in, you don't have to be on camera. We love having people present if they're just listening, they're chatting, or if they're just sharing. So thank you, Jonathan and Elena, for that. Amy, let's have you introduce yourself, and then we'll turn it over to Michelle.
Okay, great. So my name is Amy Bendowitz. I'm the president of LB Digital, which is a digital marketing agency focusing on data and audience segmentation. I'm very happy to be here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Alexander with AJM Financial, and I help people plant their money trees.
I love it. I love it. So much commitment and support. Amy, we're excited to have you next week as one of our guests, by the way, because data is important, right? We got to know who we're targeting. So here we are. We are at the person of the hour. Marsha Hudson, you are a contributor. You're a leader, an entrepreneur, a cheerleader. You're a professor. You're leading the dance in so many different lights. And you've got all of this knowledge, right? This information that you're gathering from all these different walks of life, from people that are starting businesses, to people that are building businesses, to people that are changing what business really means for them, right? Because a lot of us are kind of in that position. So before we get started, Marsha, I'd love if you shared with us your story. Where do you come from? Where did you get started in business? And how did you end up being in the branding space like you are?
Well, thank you so much, Adam. Yeah, it is a story. Thank you guys for having me here. So I've always been, and I was talking to Adam, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. And it's in my family, it's in my blood. My dad's a carpenter. And in about the 12th grade or 11th or 12th grade, I'm a writer and I love writing. And I've written for the newspaper in the high school. And I was just really good at writing in English. So I decided to start my own tutoring business in the 12th grade and just tutoring, helping people with writing. And I think I was charging like $5 back then. And so it kind of started there. And I really enjoyed helping people and I enjoyed helping them achieve their goals. At that time, students wanted to learn how to write and graduate, right? And so when I went to college and I attended Sam Houston State in Huntsville, here near Houston, and I studied literature and I studied photography because I had a love for that also. And when I finished at the college, when I graduated, I had a photojournalism degree. And so I started my own little photography business, and it took off, and I shot weddings, and I would go. Back then it was different from how we market today, because we could do online, but I would set up tables and go to bridal shows, and I joined the Professional Photographers of America, because I'm a firm believer you need to learn and join organizations and invest in yourself. And I started traveling everywhere. So my photography business just picked up, and I started shooting weddings, and I was shooting weddings. And that was around 2000. And I was running and gunning, and it was great. And around 2015, things started slowing down. And I'm like, what's going on? Right. And I told my husband, and I woke up one day and I said, I think I think I need to learn how to do social media, because everybody's a photographer now. Everybody has a camera, and I want to keep my business going. And so I said, I think I need to learn how to brand myself and build my business and continue it on social media. So that was 2015. And I just learned, I went in and just threw everything I could into learning social media and how to brand and Facebook and all of that. And then I got certified in it. And I said, I'm going to teach this to my photographer friends. And so I would invite them to my photography studio, and I would teach them how to keep their businesses going. And I would teach them about social media and branding in my photography studio. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to help my fellow colleagues. Well, it took off, and people heard about it, and they're like, well, can you come teach it to our team? Can you come teach it at the chamber? I was like, oh, I guess. And so then University of Houston, the SBDC, heard about me. They're like, well, can you come and do an interview and see if you want to be a presenter? And I was like, oh, okay. And it just took off from there. And it was 2016, it just went on. And in 2020, in the pandemic came, it was just crazy. And I was in front of this computer. Everybody was trying to learn how to pivot. Everybody wanted to know how to get online. By then, I had been studying social media branding for 4 years. And so it just took off. And then I just decided, okay, I'm going to work with entrepreneurs who want to grow their brand, grow their business. This is what I want to be known for. So here we are today in 2022. And I mean, I'm teaching social media. I'm teaching digital marketing, branding. I'm still doing a little photography. I don't shoot weddings anymore. I'm a little too old to be running after these brides. So we've transitioned to branding photography, where we shoot headshots and we do companies and we do website photography for that. So this is how I got here today. And that's my journey at this point. I have something new coming up in 2023, but we'll talk about that another day.
I love it. Thank you for the energy, first of all. Thank you for sharing your story and your background. You are leading and teaching, which is fantastic, right?
Yes.
And if you're leading and teaching, that means you're also learning and growing alongside the people that you're working with. And I love that. And one of the things that I love what you said is you got to join an association or a group, a community, to really help you feel part of something, right? To really grow and gain that confidence. And we were talking prior to this call that a lot of what entrepreneurs struggle with is confidence. If they can overcome some of these obstacles through confidence and having that commitment to themselves and their brand and what they're building, well, we might have less failures. We might have more successes. We might have more family businesses. We might have more people jumping into a space they think is crowded, right? You said that everybody was a photographer. Things were getting crowded and you had to kind of change your style. There's so much of that going on today. Everybody is overwhelmed with this need to change their style. What is the new normal? How do you define business? How do you define lifestyle? So these are things that I'm so glad that you're championing and teaching people about. And I love the evolution of your story. I want to just harp on that a little bit, right? Because you started as a writer, and then you realized that pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? And that's very powerful. And so you built off of that. And that's really where it comes down to now, is how do we balance those brands and how do we create one that really trumps everything else and shows people what we're doing? What is our brand? What's our business? What do people want to get from us? So I'm so glad you're here with us to talk about that today. You know, you've been teaching at the university and with entrepreneurs something called the 4 Easy Steps. Can you share with us a little bit about what that is?
Yes, Adam. So in 2020, when we were all home and we were in front of our computers and we had to take our business online, I found myself teaching to entrepreneurs every day teaching how to grow your business, how to build a brand, why a brand is so important. Your brand is more than your colors or your logos. Your brand is your reputation. It's a feeling. It's an experience that people get when they encounter you and your services or your business. And I was teaching the same thing every day. And I'm like, okay, I need to coin this and call it something. And I realized that I was teaching them how to go from branding, getting found, getting discovered, to converting followers into customers, because followers and likes doesn't bring money to the bank. And so that's when I decided. So this was 2020 and it was 2021, and I had been teaching it the whole year, and I was actually on the treadmill and I was listening to a podcast on the treadmill, and I thought it was November 2021. And I thought, okay, what can I do to make this streamlined for people? Because everybody was overwhelmed and they were frustrated. How can I streamline this? Everybody wants to grow their business. And that's when I came up with the branding to converting 4-part system. And that system is comprised of branding, messaging, marketing, and converting. And so I realized that this is what I'm doing every day. And this system works. If you want to grow your business, start a business, you only need these 4 steps. And so that's when I called it from branding to converting. And I created a course for it, and I created coaching for it, and then one-on-one. And so that's how that system came about. The 4-step marketing system, whether you are trying to market online in a digital space, making a digital footprint, or whether you're even, trying to grow your business if you have a brick and mortar. So that's how I came with the branding to converting 4-step process.
So many people are trying to build in different ways, different lights, even different social media channels, right? And understanding where we're putting our effort. Where we're putting our effort is one of the things we've got to make sure that we really understand where we're targeting, where we're looking. If we're looking in the wrong place, or if we're even approaching it the wrong way through overwhelm, right? Because a lot of people will do these things where they get really excited, very excited about being in business, and then they sprint, they do a whole bunch of stuff, and then they burn out, and there's no consistency. So I like that you lean on a streamlined process. You said that business is an experience. It's customers in the journey. It's something that they feel. It's a feeling they get working with you. That's your brand. And that's what a lot of us really strive for. So talk to us a little bit about some of the tips that you might go through in this process, right? If somebody's talking about branding first to get started.
But you want me to tell you about a little bit about the 4 steps? Is that what you guys would like to hear?
Yes.
Well, let me tell you about it, because I love teaching it to entrepreneurs. The first thing about branding is, we as entrepreneurs, and we wear so many hats, right? And we're so busy. Well, my clients come and they're like, well, Marsha, I'm so busy. I just don't have time for social media. And I was working with a lady the other day, and I said, okay, you're going to have to build your brand, and we have to market it. And I said, we want to use social media. And the first response I got was, ugh. I said, we're going to get rid of that feeling. Okay. So in the 4 steps, the first thing I want to do is I want to teach us as entrepreneurs, and even if we're not an entrepreneur, we all have a brand. Even if you work for a company, you have a brand, because your brand is your reputation. But I want to teach them how not to be overwhelmed, how not to be frustrated. So with branding, there are like 4 questions that I start everybody off with when you're talking about a brand, because branding is different from marketing. Okay. So there are 4 questions that I know you guys have probably heard about it, because it's what a brand is made of. There are 4 questions when you're ready to build a brand, whether you work for someone or you have a business or you're starting a business. The first question is, what do you want to be known for? Okay. Who do you want to be known as? And people are like, well, I want to be known for this, or I want to be known for that, and I want to help everybody. Well, I tell people, when you try to serve everyone, you serve no one, right? And I use this analogy. You want to specialize, you want to become known for something, because it's like we go to our general doctor, we all have the primary care, right? But when we want a specialized doctor, we're either going to go to the cardiologist. He specializes in that, or the podiatry, they specialize in that. Well, they make more money. Okay. So when you when you become known for something and you specialize in it, it doesn't mean you're discounting other people, because people think I want to help everybody so I can make money with my business. But when you specialize, it doesn't mean you're not going to get other people. You just become known as the specialist and you make more money. And then you attract the people that need that. The cardiologist is going to attract the people who need, him as a cardiologist. So branding starts with, who do you want to be known as? What do you want to be known as? So for me, and I thought about, I want to be known as the digital marketer and the branding strategist who teaches the 4-step simple marketing plan. So you got to think about, what is it that I want to be known for? And then the second question is, okay, so once you decide, okay, this is what I want to be known for, who do I want to serve? Because when we say, well, everybody, well, all of the people who do this, you want to decide who is your ideal audience. Because if we try to serve everyone, because we are going to get to marketing and you have to market yourself, are you going to have to market to everybody? So you're going to have to make content for young people, content for older people, content for women, content for men. You can't serve everyone. And I told one lady, I was like, nah, unless you're Walmart, they can serve everyone, but that's big business. As entrepreneurs, small business, solopreneurs, side hustlers, we want to choose an audience. So maybe you can choose 2 audiences. And it doesn't mean that other people won't hire you. It's just that these are the people you're targeting. Like for me, I mainly work with female entrepreneurs, and they're a certain age range, and I know what they like. You really want to know your audience. Do I work with men? Of course. We love working with men. They support us. I'm working with Adam right now. So it doesn't mean no other people won't want to work with you. So you have to decide, who is my audience? Because when you know your audience, now you can target them. And it's 4.6 billion people online, right? And that's a whole lot of people. So if you target a certain audience, it's enough to go around. So when I tell people to know who you want to serve, write it down. Now, I'm a writing professor. I tell my students, and hope most of them don't listen to me, I'm like, write it down. Who is your audience? Is it a male? Is it a female? Is it both? Is it a company? Is it what's the age range? What do they like to do? What are their hobbies? You need to know everything about your ideal audience. Are they families? What do they not like to do? Do they like to travel? So there's so many other aspects to us than just business. So you need to know everything about your audience. And I also say, who do you like working with? So that's a part of your audience too. So the second question is, well, who will I serve? And the third one is, what is my niche? And sometimes people say niche, but people don't, people think their niche is their audience. Your niche is the problem you solve. Okay. So what problem do you solve for that audience? You see? So you have to decide, and I'm big on writing it down. Like me, my niche is, I solve these problems. I help people grow a brand. That's a problem that I solve. I help people build their business, scale their business. That's a problem I solve. I help people have being overwhelmed with social media. I help them. So you have to know the problem you solve, because when you have this target audience and you know the problem you solve, now you can help them solve that problem. And so then the last question to branding, and it's just 4 questions that this part is where you're in your thinking and your strategic planning stage, is what your last question is, what is my transformation statement? Okay. And I always tell people, you need a transformation statement, because people don't pay me for all of the things that Adam told you, all of the things that I do. And those things are nice, but people don't pay me for those things, or people don't want to work with me for those things. People come to me because they want to know, Marsha, how can I build a brand? How can I build my business? And how can you help me? That's what people pay for. They don't really pay for the fact that I'm a professor. They don't pay for the fact that I've been in business a long time. You could have been in business 5 months and be much better than me. They pay for the results. People pay for the transformation. So in branding, when you come up with your transformation statement, now you've built a brand. You've built a brand just from those 4 questions. And so your transformation statement, and I usually put it in a formula, and the formula is I blank, whether it's help or serve, whatever audience, do whatever it is they want to do so that they can, and these are the results. That's a transformation statement. And so in this statement, you put what you do, who you do it for, how you do it, and what results will they get. And so then I tell people, once you get that transformation statement down, your whole business should be surrounded around that statement. Everything you do, it should be on your website, because your website is a part of your sales team. And I tell people that all the time. It should be on your website. I help entrepreneurs do this, go from being frustrated to being focused so that they can build a brand and build a thriving business. That's my transformation statement. So my whole business is surrounded around that statement. It's on my LinkedIn. It's on my Instagram. It's on my Facebook. That becomes your whole brand. So when you decide, this is what I want to be known for, this is who I want to serve, this is my niche, this is the problem I solve, and here's my transformation statement, you've actually built a brand. Now you have to take that and move forward into the next step. And so now you're like, everything I do, it comes from this transformation statement, because the people who are going to be raising their hands saying, I want to work with you, it's because of that transformation statement. So now you move to the second step, which is messaging. And I tell people, that's your content. Content is king. Lee Ogden said content is the kingdom. Content is everything, because now you've built this brand. You need to put that message out there so that you can attract your ideal client. You need to put that message. So you're thinking, and people say, well, Marsha, where do I come up with content? What do I say? What do I put? And so I have a few pillars, content pillars, that I share with people. And I say, these are the content pillars. There's 7, but I'll tell you about 3 today for time's sake. These are the content pillars that you can use everywhere. You can use it in your email. And I hope you're doing email, because we have to drive people off of social media, because we don't own that, right? And it can close down or get hacked. And we know Facebook and Instagram closed down a few months ago for a full day. You got to move people off of social media into your email, into your ecosystem. Because you don't sell on social media, you market. People don't really like that pitching and salesing, but you nurture people when they get into your email. You see, and so with your messaging, you can use that content on email, you can use it on social media. Now it's more to marketing than social media. You don't want to just use that one tool. Social media is one tool in our marketing bag. It's like if you're trying to build something and you say, okay, I need the hammer, but then you need a screwdriver, and then you need nails. So you need other tools in your bag. So when you start messaging, you think, okay, for social media, I can do educational type content. I can post informational, and I can do motivational content. The 3 biggest ones that people like to attract your ideal audience, the 3 biggest ones are educational. People want to learn tips and tools and tricks and strategies, right? So from your industry, you use that educational pillar as a part of your content strategy. The second one is motivation. People like it. People like motivational quotes, business quotes. And then you talk about why you like it, or you put a motivational post out there. So that's the second pillar, and that attracts your ideal audience, because we know that people buy based on emotion for the most part. And then the third biggest one, believe it or not, is entertaining. And I like to say that's storytelling. Tell people something about you. It's like Adam said, your struggles, your whys. You're not perfect. Everything's not going, that way. Let them know. Let them know you're human. You know, sometimes I'll post, I'm at Starbucks. I like to sit there with my coffee and read and write and plan. And so entertaining can be storytelling, things from different aspects of your life. Those are three big content pillars that will attract your ideal audience: education, motivation, and entertainment. Now, there are others, but those are the three biggest ones. Now, I do like the problem solving type of messaging. So now you've moved into, okay, I know what kind of content I need to make sure that my brand message revolves around this content because it's going to attract my ideal audience. Now, I tell people this, I like to talk about myths. Okay. It is a myth that, and Jonathan will agree because he's in this space. It is a myth that you need to be on every social site. That's a myth. And people are like, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I was like, oh my goodness, how is that going? And they can't be committed to keeping a system or being consistent because they're trying to do too many sites, especially if they're a solopreneur, right? So that's a myth. All right. You don't need to be on every social site. Pick one core platform. Pick one or two if you don't feel comfortable with one, and go all in 3 days a week. A second myth: you don't need to be on social media every day, even LinkedIn. I like LinkedIn. It's one of my core platforms. I post to LinkedIn maybe 3 times a week, sometimes 4. But I have an assistant, so if we may post a little bit more because she may post, but you don't need to be on social media every day. Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are. A 3-day a week plan is enough to build a brand. It's better to show up 3 weeks, 3 times a week and be valuable with your content than 5 to 6 times because you're just throwing something up because you want to be on. So that's a myth. Okay. Now in 2015, it was different. You needed to be everywhere. You needed to post every day, 2 and 3 times a day. It's changed. So that is a myth. And the third myth is, this is a good one: you do not need a lot of followers to grow and make money on social media. That is a myth. And you can Google it. Someone had 50,000 followers just on Google and couldn't sell 5 t-shirts. 50,000 followers and couldn't sell 5 t-shirts. It is a myth. I can't grow my business, Marsha. I don't have hardly any followers. Well, let's pay attention to the ones you do have and let's nurture them. And I like this analogy. And I'm in my office right now, but when I'm at home and I say, okay, if I had 20 people in my living room, that's a lot of people in my living room. Okay. If your living room is a little bigger, maybe you could get 30 in there. It's like, that's a lot of people in my living room. Now, if I'm talking about how to build your brand, how to grow your business to these 20 people in my living room, and they're like really engaged and they were like, I really want to know more. And let's say 10 of them want to get on a call with me, a discovery call, a clarity call, or whatever. And we talk about their goals and their struggles and where you are and where you want to be. And so 10 people get on this call with me from the 20 people in my living room. Well, let's say from the 10 people who get on the call with me, let's say 4 people become a client. From 20 people, I got 4 clients. It works. So from 20 people, 4 clients. And what if they got your premium product? Maybe you have a $1,500 product or a $1,000 product, or what, and then they became consistent customers. So you don't have to have a lot of followers. You do want to grow a good loyal base, but you don't need a lot of followers to grow your brand. And Starbucks mission is, and I read all and research all of the time. I read Starbucks mission, and Starbucks mission and their statement is 1 cup, 1 customer, 1 neighborhood at a time. 1 cup, 1 customer, 1 neighborhood at a time. And that's how it works. We don't have, I need 10,000 followers, 1 person at a time. And you grow like that. And so your messaging, that's what you want to focus on. Let me put my message out to my 1 main client. Talk to your 1 main client when you put your messaging out. And so once you know, okay, this is going to be my brand message. This is what I want to be known for. This is my brand identity, my transformation statement. Then you move to the third step, which is marketing. And it's a simple plan, because if you only need to do 3 days, you have one core platform and one communication platform. That's all you need. Focus on it for 90 days. I like Moran's book, The 12-Week Year. And he talks about in January, people are like, this is what I'm going to do the whole 12 months. Do the 90 day. So we're at the beginning of August. You can do a 90-day plan as we move into the holiday. And so you can have a 90-day plan and say, I want to make LinkedIn my core platform. So I'm going to go all in. LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn Group, LinkedIn Video, LinkedIn Newsletter. You see what I'm saying? So now you don't have to focus on so many platforms, and you build a brand on LinkedIn by going all in 3 days a week. Well, let's say you say, okay, well, I want to do Facebook too, because they are making a comeback, or I like Instagram. You have to have an intention if you want to add these. You can have two, but you can build a brand on your one core platform and have another platform if you like, maybe a podcast. A podcast is great. It's becoming increasingly popular, or maybe a blog, or maybe you want to do YouTube video, or maybe you want to add email. And so now you say, where am I going to market? Because I don't need to be everywhere. I don't need to be online every day. You can still run your business. You can still have a life. Marsha said a 3-day a week plan. And I know it works, because in 2015, Adam, when I first started, and people were like, well, can you come speak? And I went to go speak, and I had prepared so much, and I was so excited. And I was going to downtown Houston, and a company sponsored me, and it was going to be great. And so I get down there, and they're ready for me, and they put me in this big room. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. 3 people came. 3 people came. I'm like, what? I prepared so much. Really 2, because one person came with a check. Okay. So it was really 2, the one from the company. And I thought to myself, this is not for me. I did all of this preparation. We sent all these, 3 people came. In actuality, 2 people came. But when I went home, and my girlfriend was like, I was like, this is not for me. She said, Marsha, that is your first one. She said, one day it's going to be 10, 20. 34. I was like, really? Because I prepared, and that was 2015. And now here it is. And I'm speaking to many people all of the time, people showing up. And so I know that this works, because I started from 2 people. So I know that this works. So you don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to be on every day. You just need to be valuable when you show up. And so that's marketing. So you decide, okay, well, I don't need to market everywhere. And we pick where you're going to market, but you want to market where your clients are. You have to make sure they can afford you also, because you can pick a platform, show up 3 days a week, give great content, and people are just listening all the time. Now, yes, some people are going to just listen and they won't become a client, and that's okay. But you do need some clients to make a business go, right? So you have to make sure you market in the right place. And then the last step is converting. It works. And it's a 3-day plan, and you don't have to overwhelm yourself. So how do we convert these followers and likes? And I call them browsers. How do we turn browsers into bookers? Now you've taken them through this funnel. You've built this brand. People love your brand. They like your brand. They know you. You put your messaging out. You give an educational post, inspirational post, motivational post. Storytelling posts. People love your content. You're attracting your ideal audience. And so now you're marketing, you're showing up wherever your people are, and you're marketing, you're teaching them, you're putting yourself, and they love this. And so now you have this group of loyal fans. And Pat Flynn said, we don't need but 1,000 super fans. 1,000 super fans. So can you imagine having 1,000 super fans? 100 people 1 month. I couldn't even serve 100 people 1 month. 10, 20 people this month. 1,000 super fans, because they buy from you over and over. 1,000 super fans. And now they love you. They like you. They telling people about you. Now you convert because that's the end of the funnel. And so how do you convert? You get on a call. You show up, you be seen, you be heard. You can have a discovery call or a clarity call where you can let people know I have a 20-minute call. We can talk about it. It's all about them. It's never about us. I have a 20-minute call. We can talk about your goals. We can talk about where you are. We can talk about if you've been talking about this for years. We can help you move from the zero state, which Donald Miller talks about in Brand Story, from the zero state, this place where you're tired of being, to the hero state, this place where you want to be. So they may get on a call, you convert them. They may get on a Zoom. I like the ask me anything. You may have your people say, I'm giving a ask me anything Zoom, a 30 minutes on Saturday. Come and ask me anything about my business. That's a great converting tool. 3 people may say, how do I move forward and work with you? You got to show up and be seen and be heard. That's the best way to convert. Maybe a webinar. Now, it doesn't need to just be a paying client right away. What if they give you their email? What if they download your lead magnet and give you their email? That's digital currency. So you convert through a Zoom session. You convert through a discovery call or a clarity call. We don't call it consultations anymore. You convert through, we want to know how can we help you. So when you get on the call, at the end of the call, people understand that you're going to let them know, okay, I heard what you said. I understand your struggles. This is the transformation you're going to get when you work with us or you buy our product. And the customer, the potential client or the lead says, how can I work with you? And that's when you tell them your ways. Maybe you have 2 ways or 3 ways that they can work with you. Maybe you have a coaching program. Maybe you have a one-on-one strategy session. Maybe you have a membership. Maybe you have a course they can purchase. So they say, how can I work with you? These are the ways that we can move forward if you want to work with me. And that is how you convert one client at a time. And with that system, branding, messaging, of course, there's a whole lot more to the system, but I gave you a little. With that system, branding, messaging, marketing, you need all of the parts, and converting. You will build a very profitable brand, and you will build a thriving business, but you must be consistent. And that's why I tell my people 3 days a week, do your 3 days. Do your 3 days. You must be consistent. You can't show up this week and not show up next week and not show up there. So you have to be consistent. It's like me. And I tell people, well, if you want to at least get a sample of me, and this is a great way to give people a sample of what you do, go to my website. Go to my website because I have a lot of free resources. I mean, LinkedIn resources, blogging resources, branding resources, courses for free. Go to my website and download one of our free resources. Yeah. Now they get a sample of you. So that's the 4-step system.
Mic drop, right? I mean, everything you just gave us, I understand that it was quick and it was a high level of what you actually do, Marsha, but that was stuff that we can really take inventory on, right? We need to be the solution, not the product. So start with that, right? As a brand, you need to understand where you are bringing value. And then you got to understand what the value is for the people you're actually out to work with. Business is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be curious. It's supposed to be exciting. If you don't understand who you're working with or don't understand the value of why they matter to you, well, it's time to sit down and have a conversation with yourself, right? I love that that's what you shared. And you kept coming back to that scenario of value, right? If you have value, you value their time, you value your time, you value the solution you offer, well, that's valuable. And that's when you get to charge the prices that matter. That's when you get to have the business that supports the economic backbone of you being out there chasing that passion, right? So I love that you just went through the 4 steps and just gave us some very, very actionable overview that we can really dive into. And you do a great job of contributing. I have to just thank you and celebrate that because you really, really do lead with contribution. And that is, just like you said, leading to conversions And there are so many people that you're impacting. And yeah, not everybody's going to be your customer, but I can tell you right now that everybody that's looking at your content, they're feeling positive and they're feeling confident. So that should, give everybody solace here that's in this meetup. And if you're listening to this later, understanding that, yes, not everything you do is going to convert every time, but I can promise you that the ripple effect is bigger than you will ever know, especially in small business. And the ability that you're giving people to have this confidence, Marsha, I have to celebrate that and thank you for that. Your story and everything you shared today was just fantastic.
Thank you so much, Adam. And what I really like to tell people is you can do this. We're just, all of us who are on here, we're everyday people, right? Just trying to make it. We live it. You, whoever is listening, you can do this. Decide on your goal. Get with Adam because he helps you to clarify that. Clarify your goals. You want to clarify your goal. Put a little action behind it, one day at a time. You don't have to overwhelm yourself. And if you keep doing that, you go from this place of planning, clarifying, to doing, to continuing, even if you fail and you have to tweak and you have to change things. So you go from continuing to doing to maybe failing to getting up and thriving. And it actually works.
I love that. And thank you for again, championing the cause and letting people know that they can do it. They are possible. We've had a lot of valuable context today and the conversation is just getting started, right? And I know we only have an hour and we're at the end of our hour. So one of the things we like to do, Marsha, is we always like to open it to comments, questions, and kudos. And Jonathan's got his hands up. So I'm going to let him ask his question. And then we have a few questions in the chat too that I want to make sure that we touch on. So Jonathan.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I always enjoy that. This was such a great presentation. And you were totally right when you mentioned not needing to be on every social media platform. All of my buzzers went off. It's such a gospel of mine in that if you're going to be on a social media platform, you have to be present there, right? I had them explain to me one time as your digital storefront, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or whatever it might be. And if you are not tending to that store on a regular basis, you don't know what message is actually being sent to people who see it, right? If they go to your content and they see you posted 6 days ago, and then they see your last response was 3 weeks ago, what might they take away from, what might they glean from that? And it's unfortunate, but it's just kind of the day and age we're in. And not to mention, platforms are changing so rapidly and they are all trying to diversify themselves so that you can't post the same thing on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. It will be deprioritized on 2 of those platforms because it has a watermark on it, or it'll be, Instagram is going double down on video and they're not doing, so it really is just doing your due diligence and recognizing where you will be the most, where you believe you can dedicate the most amount of time. And the platform you feel most comfortable with really is so important to take on. And the one question that I saw in the comments that I actually wanted to just double down on and get your thoughts on is Daryl asked if you can do 1 time a week. And I have some thoughts on this myself, but I'd be very curious to hear what you have to say about, is 3 the absolute minimum, or is there some wiggle room there?
Okay, Daryl, I like that question. And if anybody knows me, let me see, I like to use an analogy. I prefer at least 2 times a week because this is why. You want to stay on top of mind. Everybody's online. Everybody's throwing things at us, emails, Instagram, TikTok, we have to stay on top of mind. Now, if you show up once a week, it's kind of hard for you to stay on top of mind. I do like the 3 times a week. It's better than the 5 and the 6, right? But 2 times a week should be fine. But the reason why I say that is because you want to stay on top of mind. Most people who email us, like when email works or social media works, it's like Jonathan was saying, you have to be present. And now at least you don't have to do it 6 or 7 times. But the reason why I say 3 times or 2 at the minimum, you want to stay on top of mind. I'm not going to think about you if you show up once a week. And I need to think about you and your product and your service. Now you can take content, and that's more in the 4-step program. You can take a piece of content and repurpose that and use that content in different ways the 2 to 3 times. You could do a video and post it to your core platform, and then you can take parts of that video and use it somewhere else. So you can take one piece of content and just repurpose it, change it around, so you don't have to keep thinking of content, and use it your 2 to 3 times. So I do prefer at least two, because you want to stay on top of mind. And once on social media, once a week, is we don't want to just like and leave and forget about you. Like and leave. Oh, like and leave. Now I haven't seen you. So what do you think about that, Jonathan?
I think you're spot on. I think you're spot on. I totally agree with you on that. It's, you also think about, like, my thing that I think about is, like if I, and it kind of also fluctuates with what kind of service you offer and what kind of product you offer. Like if I'm working with you on financial advisement, and, you know, hopefully I would have more connection to you. But if I'm reaching out to someone on Instagram, or if I'm a potential new client and I just send you a DM and I say, I need to talk to someone. I really need to talk to someone about my finances right now. Like something's going wrong with taxes or XYZ. If you're checking that, even as you said, even twice a week, right? That cuts wait time down by 50% than just doing 1 week. Because if I send you a message about something that I think is urgent, I'm not going to wait 6 days for you to get back to me about it. And that's just one instance and one avenue someone may take. So to be able to give yourself that, and it is an undertaking, right? It's something you have to undertake, and it's something you have to learn, and, you know, there are growing pains with it, but having that opportunity to let people know that you are paying attention to them. And even if they're not a client of yours right away, that you are still able to give them even a tiny bit of your time of day. It said, I mean, you put it in the chat, you want to stay top of mind. And if you engage with people, they will have a positive takeaway of you.
Right. It's too many people, it's too congested, and people don't see your content all of the time anyway. Even if you show up the one time, Facebook only lets about 5% of your people see. And people are like, really? But remember, at one time, everybody could see years ago. Now it's about 5% or 10. So people may not even see it that one day. Instagram doesn't let all of your people see when you post. So, and sometimes you can post the same thing because everybody didn't see. So that's another thing that you want to keep in mind. Everybody, the social sites, they do not let all of your followers see just because you posted. So that's another thing. So I really, really recommend, and sometimes we need 7 touch points before we can even think about doing business with you. I followed people for 3-4 months before I even purchased something from them. What if they didn't show up but once a week? I probably wouldn't have purchased it, but they stayed on top of mine. It's like, I need that program. And 3 months later, I purchased a coaching program from an Instagram coach, because Instagram changes every day. So I need a coach to keep up so I can train my people. And the reason why I picked that coach, she stayed on top of mine. And that's why I picked her out of a whole lot of other coaches.
Yeah, these are great conversations and questions regarding presence, right? Again, getting back to that value. Do you value your time, and are you valuing your client's time? Are you balancing their needs and being present, not just on social media, but being available when they have that problem you're out to solve? Can you be the solution, not the product? So I love the conversation today. I think a lot of what we've talked about has provided some really good context and just internal dialogue for us to think about. One of the questions that was asked earlier in the chat was, how do you find the data on your clients? Not going to answer that because Amy's talking to us next week about that, right? So we're gonna dodge that question, Daryl. You can show up next week and find out a little bit more on targeting.
Can we give him one tip to walk on until he gets with Michelle? Michelle's going to give it. I know she's great. People ask me, how do you find the data? How do you find out who your client is? And the one tip I'll give you on finding out who your client is, if you put content out there, and especially if you have a lead magnet and they download it, they're interested. That's your client. And you find out from the problems that they solve. Another way is, I'm sure Michelle's going to say, ask people. I survey people, ask them in the email. You find out your client has a problem. If you have something that they think can solve their problem, that's your client. So if you have a lead magnet, a free guide on 10 ways to live a happier life, and they download it, they want to know how to live a happier life. So you know your client by the content that they want from you, from a lead magnet, or even doing a survey and asking people different things. That's how you find out who your client is. I know Michelle's going to take care of that.
Amy's going to do a great job next week going over all that stuff. Marsha, you did a great job today. I really, really, really love the conversation and everything that we can implement. And thank you to all the community members and the GoDaddy team for being here today. These are always just amazing meetups. We always take so much value out of this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We will recap this and release this. You'll probably see it in about 2 weeks come out. And in the meantime, where can we send people, Marsha, immediately to engage with you and connect with you in a meaningful way?
Oh, thank you, Adam. Well, they can go to marshalynnhudson.com and everything is there. And on my website at marshalynnhudson.com, you can get free resources. You can see different ways to work with me. You can email me about a free clarity or discovery call. So everything is on the website because your website is a part of your sales team. And so they can go there and find out anything, courses. I have free courses, just anything that will help them build a brand and grow their business. I also have a brand new branding bundle that I just uploaded, and it is free. So you can go there and get that. And I have a roadmap to learn more about LinkedIn. I put up there yesterday, and it is free. So I have a lot of resources at marshalynnhudson.com. And if you go to contact, my email is there if you want to reach out to me. So those are ways to be able to connect with me. And be sure and follow me on Instagram at Marsha Lynn Hudson Media, and subscribe to my YouTube, Marsha Lynn Hudson, because I'm really, Adam, trying to grow my YouTube channel.
I love it. I think that, again, we should all definitely connect. You've been contributing in the community, so we'll definitely see you on there, but go to marshalynnhudson.com. And then everybody that's here, I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank
You guys
you.
have a great day.
Marsha.
Good to see
Bye,
you,
everyone.
Michelle,
Good
Amy,
job.
Jonathan. Thanks so much, Adam. You guys be sure and go to CLARAfi, especially if you want to clarify those goals.
Appreciate it.
Oh, bye-bye.
Bye.
Great job, Marsha. Thanks.